Maseches Bavekame Daf Lamed He Amud Beis. Okay, we're in the Gemara after a very interesting long Mishnah. Basically, this year's Leilu Nishmas out today's the Yortzeit of Rochel Bas Ben Zion. The Leilu Nishmas Rochel Bas Ben Zion, the Yortzeit is today. And Leilu Nishmas, of course, of Yomi, Menachem Ben Akiva, Oz Bas Shalom, Thor Michla Bas David, Thor Bas Moshe, the first Rivka Bas Yehudis Bas Rivka, the first Golda Gila Bas Shifra, Shol Ben Ozna. What? Yes, of course. Zahava Bas David Alevi. Zahava Bas David Alevi. So we said in the Mishnah brought down all kinds of cases in which there is uncertainty about whether a bull gored his friend or it was just an accident with a stone. That was the first case. Then we had the second case of two bulls, both belonging to the same person, to Reuven, and we don't know whether the big one is the one who gored or the small one is the one that gored, right? And we always say, as long as we don't have a proof that really that's what happened, that it was goring, or we don't know that the big one is the one who gored, we say, I'm sorry, mister, we feel for you, but as long as you don't have the proof that really there was damage done, we stick to the old dogma of things are muchzak. The money is muchzak in the pocket of Mr. Mazik. So as long as we don't know otherwise, we assume it belongs to the Mazik. We don't know. And even if we know that the Mazik owes something, we don't know how much. That's the second case. We don't know if it's 1,000 shekel bull that gored or the 500 one that gored, right? Which would make a difference because this is a short time. It makes a difference how much the mazik is worth. Then again, we'll say we'll opt for the small one. If you don't have a raya, you're going to get the 500 shekel from the small one, not 1,000 from the big one, assuming 1,000 is half an ezek. Of course. And there was a third case. The third case was what happens when you have 2 against 2. It's already a whole football team, You have a big against small and a big one and small one against a big one and a small one. And again, and we said, the Nizak says, well, the big one hit my big one and the small one hit my small one. Your small one hit my small one, which is within the interest of the Nizak to say that, right? We're going to get to your question soon, That we will say, it says, that's what the Nizak says the Mazik, no, my big one hit your small one. So from my big one, I'm only going to pay a small amount. And my small one hit your big one. So even though I owe you a lot, I only have a small amount to pay from. My resources are limited. So we always side with the Mazik, not because we like the Mazik more. It happens to be the Mazik is the one that holds the money. You're trying to change reality. You're trying to move money out of its place of rest. That's very hard. And therefore, you will be, as long as you don't bring a raya, we don't know what the reality is. We leave things as they are. We say, and that's the rule we always said. What is the chiddush of the Mishnah? And we're also going to see as we go along what the Mishnah talks about all these different cases, 3 different cases. Chiddush says the Gemara, and I'll start from the beginning of the Gemara, right? We'll recap. Yesterday I wasn't so sure about Sumchus' idea. Today, Baruch Hashem, again, more clarity about it. What is this Mishnah coming to tell me? Stam to tell me this is a rule everybody knows. Says the Gemara, no. This entire Mishnah comes to tell me that everybody argues on Sumchus. The Omar Moment Mutal Bastofik Choilkin, which means Sumchus said otherwise. Sumchus said as long as we don't know who is right, Reuven or Shimon, the claimer, the claimant, whatever, the claimer or the holder, the machzik or the tuveya, we don't know who's right. We say they should divide it to 2 halves. Why? Because we don't know who's right and who's wrong. And we don't say money should just stay where it is. Mitzad as based in, we don't know who's right, we don't know who's lying, and therefore, just because somebody holds the money, it's not really a reason to say that he is right. In other words, we always have in halacha a concept of chazakah, and we have a concept of birur. Chazakah means we leave things as they are. So Sumchus says, if you want to leave things as they are, you're right. But I'm trying to say otherwise. I'm trying to say that it's not really mevarer. The fact that someone holds the money doesn't really clarify, doesn't really tell us that he's the owner, and it doesn't tell us that his show did not gore his friend's show, right? Mitzad the reality, there are no video cameras, there are no ADM, there's no Migos, and no nothing else, and therefore I will take half of the money out of his pocket because it's very likely there's 50% chance that really his show gored the other show. We don't know if it happened because of his show or because of some stone that the damaged party brushed against. So statistically, let's say it's 50-50. I'll take 50% of the money. In other words, he doesn't believe so much in chazakah. He believes more in logically trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong. Who's right, who's wrong. They both look like nice guys. They both look like the same kind of, I don't know, kollel guy, or working guy, or farmer guy. I'm joking, of course. Even if one is in kollel and one is a farmer, it doesn't make a difference. Lamaisa, we have no idea to find out who's right, who's wrong. And Mimela will split the pot. That's what Sumchus says. The Chiddush of our Mishnah is what? The Chiddush of our Mishnah is to tell me again and time and again that we do not believe in Sumchus. We disagree with Sumchus, and we do hold by what's in Mechavel Amoraim. There are questions from yesterday. This is like, we have old baggage here from yesterday. We have Baruch's question. Baruch asked an excellent question, and then I saw the Tosfos ask the question. We're going to see Tosfos, unless you have something very, very technical and quick.
We're talking about the shore that killed the other shore, or injured.
Does make a difference. Does make a difference. Does make a difference. Either killed him and he totaled him, or he injured him. At the end of the day, we don't know who's culpable. Same thing, either. Says Tosfos, I'm looking at the first Tosfos in the page. Says Tosfos, let me ask you Baruch's question before we see Tosfos, because that will make it much tastier. Says Baruch, this is kind of L'choyer or Sumchus, L'chora doesn't make sense. You know what's going to happen? I will hold on to your very nice tie. Now I'm going to grab your tie, because I think it's a very nice silk tie. And I'm going to come to Beis Din. I'm going to hold it, and you're going to hold it too. And I'm going to get half. According to Sumchus, we don't know who's right, who's wrong. If we don't believe in chazakah, if we don't believe in the law of preservation, so to speak, in the halachic one, what are we going to end up with? We're going to end up with people attacking each other, grabbing into someone's talis and saying, "Hey, that's mine." And then Beis Din will say, "Take half." That's going to be a jungle. That's going to be a balagan. Says Tosfos, to answer your question, which means Sumchus only said what he said when we have a case where the suffix, the doubt, the question, the issue, the case is not something that was caused by people themselves, by their actions. It happened by itself. When everybody watches the bull running into a cave and then the other bull coming out injured, and nobody knows, it's a question as of itself. In reality, life brought us the question, was he injured because of the horns, or was it some kind of sharp stone that hit him? That is not something that was caused willingly by any of the parties, not the mazik and definitely not the nizok. Only in such a case, says Sumchus, that we say, however, I'm spoon feeding a little bit the rest of Tosfos. Two people grab onto a talis, grab onto a beged, and that is something caused by the person. One of them chose to grab onto his friend's beged, or they both found it together. That's caused by people. It's not caused by life. The suffix is caused by the claimant, by the plaintiff, by the people, by the litigants. Then we say Sumchus would not say his rule. Enochinami. Yeah, wow. Or another case brought down by Tosfos. I'm not going to read Tosfos inside because we're really short for time. This here today is a lot of fun. Yeah, Tosfos brings another case. You can continue one line. A person, let's say somebody sold his maidservant to Shifcha. She gave birth. We don't know if she gave birth before when she was owned by Reuven or she was owned by Shimon. So we don't know if the little baby belongs to Reuven or to Shimon. Okay, and she doesn't know, or she's not reliable. She's not a Shnei Eidim. Yeah. So Mimela, we say we don't know what happened. It's a reality that happened as of itself. Everybody is in Suffolk, not because they caused the matzav. Everybody knows that she's a shifcha of Reuven, then she was Shimon, and the birth was around the same time of the sale. It's a messiastic question which nobody would know the answer forever unless we have raya. Such a case as Sumchus, it's a real Suffolk. I don't know who's lying and who's saying the truth, and therefore we'd go half-half. The chiddush of Sumchus is that we take, as opposed to Rabbanon, that we take half the money from the machzik, machzik. The mazik was the machzik, the holder, which is the damager. We take half and we put it in the hands of the nizuk. This nice semi-chart, I'm sorry for our readers, our viewers online, but you're going to get it clear, Meretz Hashem. There are three different options of Sumchus's case, whether it would apply or do not apply. And that is a good Be'ezras Hashem Hakdama to the following sugya. What would be Shema, Bori, Bori, Shema, Bori, Shema? What are all these words about that we saw yesterday? Let's say the mazik is a Shema. The mazik says, listen, I don't know if my bull did it or didn't do it. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to pay you because maybe it was him, maybe it was a stone. And the claimer, the nizok, who's claiming the money, I was damaged. I want my rights. I want my insurance. He says, yes, I'm sure. I know it was your bull. In such a case, it's very likely to say that who's the weaker one? The one who says maybe, the one who doesn't know. Not because, like you said yesterday, is a timid guy or is not screaming enough. It's not about screaming. Screaming is called alim gvar. That's what we learned with Basla. Stop. They both talk the same tone, same kind of people. One of them says, I don't know, and one of them says, I do know. So the tightness of itself is stronger. So that makes a lot of sense. That's why I ticked it over here. I put a V, as we Israelis say. Makes a lot of sense that Sumchus rule would apply then. In other words, it makes sense to take out half of the money from the mazik, mazik, because he's a maybe. He's a maybe. Here, you see that's a tick over here. He's a maybe, and therefore you're a maybe. The other one is a for sure. Makes sense. Sumchus, when he said this statement, he applies over there. Next case, let's say both of them are sure. Let's say both of them say, they stand on each one stands on, 2 back feet, and they both say, hey, I know that I didn't damage, and the other one says, I know your sure damaged mine. There would be a chiddush to say that even though the mazik is sure of what he's saying, still Sumchus would take half and move it to the hands of the nizok, of the one of the claimant, of the one who claims, okay? Even though, right, that's a chiddush, it's more of a chiddush. Even though I'm a machzik and the chazakah is accompanied by a strong statement, still Sumchus says to what? That you take the money half from you because we don't know who's right. We still don't believe in chazakahs. The third case would be very unlikely. That's the third and last case. Very unlikely that Sumchus spoke about the following case. What would be the mazik is sure? The mazik says, listen, I know it's not my bull. I was there. I know it was my bull. It was just a stone in the corner. It was just something else. And the nizok, the one who claims that maybe says, I don't know, maybe it was your shore, maybe it was your shiur, maybe it was a stone, maybe it was this and that. And therefore, in such a case, it's maybe, but it's very unlikely that Sumchus would take out from the hands of a certain person, a person who is certain in what he says, who acts with certainty and holds the money, and chazakah, and would give it to the hands, half of it would give into the hands of a person who's not a holder, and is a maybe ganz schwach. It's very schwer, and that's why over here it has the X, because it's very, very unlikely. Once we know these three levels, life is more than beautiful. And the next sugya, which is not the easiest you've seen in your life, Lamaisa, when we have those three concepts, then everything will run very smoothly. Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach Shemo. Weiter. Jeffrey was asking, and I'm actually repeating it online, and that is, why is there any possibility, Bichlal, to say that Sumchus would say that you do half and you take half out of the hands of the machzik, if the machzik is a bori, a sure, and then the one moitzi, the one who's trying to take out the money, is a maybe, we still say you take out the money, even though the one who wants to take out is a maybe, the one holding is for sure, mapitom. How could you even entertain such an idea? So I answered Jeffrey and I said, yes, because maybe we completely ignore the chazakah concept. There could be such a havamina. Chazakah is just, he's more of a jungle because he happens to hold the money. It doesn't really tell us what happened there between one bull and the other. Kamash Malan, we're not ad kedei kach. I promise you things will develop very nicely, nice and slow. Rababa, the son of Memel, told Rabchia Barabba, Sumchus afilu bori. Oh, did Sumchus say his line, his concept of them sharing half, and you take out half from the hands of who? From the hands of the machzik, even if the machzik is a bori, even if the machzik is good chazakah, he knows for sure because the other one is also bori. And then, like Ellen was saying, they're half, they're equals, yeah, because he's bori and he's bori. But it's a chiddush because the machzik is a bori. It's a good chazakah. He's a gesund bori. What's bori? Certain and healthy. That's with an aleph. He has a good gesund chazakah, and you still take it out. Did Sumchus even say it here? Not only in the case of maybe and sure, even in the case of sure and sure, even there, Amalei in, yes. This is what he holds. That's the opinion of Rabchia Barabba. Sumchus afilu bori. Yes, Sumchus would go to the extent, and even in case number 2, when both sides are certain in what they're saying, one is machzik and one is trying to get out, he's out the door trying to retrieve, to take out, still Sumchus would say statement. How do you know? How do you know that? Do you know why? The masnisin bebori who. I'm reading it. There are 2 ways to read this line, by the way. There are 2 ways to punctuate it. The Maisa, how do we know the Sumchus were talking bori? Our Mishnah, what did we say a few minutes ago? What's this whole big Mishnah about Motzim Chavel Avrai 10 times? This whole Mishnah is just an anti-Sumchus agenda. This whole Mishnah is to tell me whatever the Mishnah says, I know is what Sumchus would say otherwise. Ever heard a guy speaking on the phone and you can tell exactly what the other guy is saying on the other side? Yeah, I will tell you, no, I think Biden is not a nice guy. Mashma, the other guy says nice, Biden is a nice guy. Yeah, I'm saying, right? In other words, this lahavdil, that's what the Mishnah is all about. When we'll figure out from the Mishnah, when Chachamim say, and it only stays by the machzik, that would let us know what Sumchus would say in his side, mitzad Sumchus, that you do take half and they share it. Let's see. How do you know that the Mishnah really spoke about bori? Our Mishnah spoke about a case where both sides are certain, and Mimela, Sumchus too would say that when both sides are certain, then we do half, and we take half from the hands of the machzik. How do you know? How do you know that the Mishnah spoke like that? Diktani, it says in the Mishnah. Look at the first case of the Mishnah. It's very, very important to remember the different cases of the Mishnah, and I'll review it together with you. Case number 1. Ze omer shocha hizik. The Nizak says, your shore damaged mine. The other one says, no way, but no, it didn't. I know that it was just a stone over there, that corner over there. That's what they did. So what do you see? You see it from the tone of voice, so to speak, from the text of the first part of the Mishnah. Both sides are very certain in what they're saying. And our Mishnah said what? That when both sides are certain, we say, let it be. We say, let it stay over there and be what? Means the other guy on the other side of the phone, Sumchus, will tell you, when both sides are certain or sure, then we say Yechloiku. They share half, and that is the end of the story for Rabchia Barabba. That's what Rabchia Barabba holds. Rabchia Barabba says, that's it. Our Mishnah spoke in a very certain tone. Both sides know what they're saying. They claim a clear claim, and therefore, in such a case, Sumchus on the other side will tell me that they should share and divide half. Okay? Very good. That's Rav Chia Barabba, and that's the easy part. Now comes Rav Papa. Maskif la Rav Papa. Rav Papa basically, what? He's explaining Sumchus. These are Amoraim explaining Sumchus. Very good. Very, very, very good. These kinds of comments I like very much because I can see that you're holding. Basically, Rav Chia Barabba wanted to extend Sumchus' chidush not only to case number 1 of the maybe and sure, even sure and sure, even though the machzik is sure of what he's saying, will still take half out of his hands. Why? Because the case of the Mishnah, the first one seems to be saying that both sides knew what they were talking about, and we are talking against Sumchus. Mashma Sumchus would say, you take half of his beautiful reshus and you give it to the other guy because we don't know who's right, who's wrong. Comes Rav Papa. These are Amoraim arguing how to interpret Sumchus the Tana. That's where we are in the map of Tanoim Amoraim. Yes, Sumchus is a Tana. Nobody can argue in Sumchus if he's an Amoraim. The Amoraim argue how to interpret Sumchus. Now, Rav Papa here, before we start, I'm saving you a lot of work because his Gemara is so unclear. Took me 3 times to read it, and no, I didn't open any others for him. Basically, Rav Papa, you should know right from the start, I'm giving you a bit of a spoon feeding, which you deserve. Rav Papa believes no. Rav Papa believes that Sumchus only spoke in the first case. What's the first case? Only if the muchzak is a weak, maybe, and the one taking out is a sure guy, then we say that you take out half from the pocket of the muchzak, because his chazakah is weak. His chazakah is accompanied by a weak claim. The other guy who is, the one taking out has a clear taina, has a certain taina, a for sure taina. And only in that case Sumchus spoke. But in the case of Bori, in that case Sumchus would say no. Sumchus would agree that a motzim chaver lavaraya. Wow. Leave that alone. That's Bechlal extreme. But even the case when both sides are sure, because the machzik is sure of what he's saying, we would leave it in his secure hands. That's what Rav Papa wants to say against Rabbi Abba. But now Rav Papa has a difficult job of reinterpreting the entire Mishnah. And that's going to be fun. Buckle up. Yes, sir, Rabbi, Doctor. Yeah, I'm listening.
When you say sure,
will work out. Says the Gemara. Says Rav Papa, look, listen to this. Maskif Rav Papa. Rav Papa is now attacking that claim of Cheba Rabba that said that the Mishnah is Bori. He says like this: Midareisha Bori, Seifanami Bori. If the Reisha is Bori, the Seifa too must be Bori, which means we assume Mishnahs are supposed to be consistent and homogenic. If the first part of the Mishnah spoke about Bori, which is what you want to tell me, what was the first case of the Mishnah? There was a question, what did the shore injure his friend, or did the injury came from an exterior place? That's Bori. The Seifa should also be Bori. What's the Seifa? The Seifa should also be a case where both sides are certain in what they're saying. Let's see if that stands a litmus test. Aim a Seifa. Look at what the Seifa says. It says in the Seifa, which is the second case. There's a big bull and a small bull of who? Of one guy. The same Reuven owns a big ox and a small ox, yeah? Nizak oimer godol hizik. The Nizak says, you know who hurt my little Joey? My cute shore that was hurt by yours? It was your big bull. Your big ox is the one who did it. Mimela pay me the half, because he contains the entire half. No way. No, mapitom. My small one is the one who did it. My small ox is the one who did that, who injured, and he's worth less. You're going to get less. Yeah, let's say the nezek was 1,000, but he only contains 500. The small one, he gets 500, right? You get less. Or another case on the same venue, the Seifa says, Echad tam, echad muad. Mr. Reuven has 2 oxen, 1 tam, 1 muad. Nizak omer muad hizik. The Nizak says, you know who hit me? Who hit my guy? Your muad. I want full money, cash now. The Amazik omer lo ki elotam hizik. And the Mazik says, no. Loiki sounds like he's certain about what he's saying. He says, no. It's only the Tam that did it. Mapitom. My little one did it. Not exactly little. The one who's Tam. The one is not an experienced mafioso yet. Yeah, he's only on his way getting off the derech. He's not all the way there. And therefore what? I'll only pay you half and only migufoi. I prefer no.
Really consist in Mishnah because the person who is both people are claiming they're sure. How is it that they're sure? How are they sure that it's sure? How is it?
They each claimed that he saw it. So they claimed that he saw it. Yeah, like it.
Each one.
Hello.
They're
not even Eidechad, they're not Eid. It's nothing, right? Zog the Gemara, listen to the difference between the first case and the second case. The first case means one guy says nothing, zilch, I don't owe you anything, and then Nizak says you owe me everything. The second case is not the same. In the second case, they both agree that something happened, but they claim that different things happened from the Mazik to the Nizak, right? And what do we say? As long as you, Mr. Nizak, cannot prove that the big one did it to you. Yeah, you say the big one did it to you. I'm the mazik. I say my small one did it to you, not the big one. Hello, my siraya. Let's say he doesn't manage to bring a raya. Let's say he tries to find adim, video cameras, whatever. He doesn't find a raya. Shakil kedoma mazik. It sounds like how much would he take? He'll take the Mazik said, which means, let's talk about numbers now. Let's say the nezek was 500. It's half a nezek, 500. Nagid, that's what he owes, right? Now he says, your big bull is the one who did it to me. How much is the big bull worth? 500. Great. I'm owed 500. The big one who's worth 500, he did it to me. Says the other one, the Mazik says, no, mapitom. It's my 200 who did it to you. You won't get your entire half nezek. You only get 200. So now, what do we say? Okay, so because poor Nizak has no proof that it was a 500, he'll have to settle down for 200, right? Because that's what the Mazik says that he did. Says the Gemara, that is absolutely illogical. I'll read it in the words of the Gemara, and then I'll prove to you that it does make sense. Nema, if this is so, if this is what the Bryce is telling me, the Mishnah is telling me in the second case, doesn't stand in the test of logic. Why? The proof of logic. They would challenge what Rabbi Bar Nosson said. What did Rabbi Bar Nosson say? The Omar, he said the follows. A person says, you owe me wheat. You stole a bag of wheat from my granary. Yeah, it was wheat, and nothing but the wheat. The wheat, all the wheat, and nothing about the wheat. Yeah, that's what you stole. The other one said, I'm so sorry. My Yitzhar took the better of me. Erev Yom Kippur, I stole, but I didn't steal wheat. I stole another bag of barley. What do we say? Potu. Does he have to pay anything? The one who says that he stole the barley? Yes or no? Says the Gemara, says Rabbi Bar Nosson, he doesn't have to pay anything. I'll give an example. Yeah, without an example even. When you said, you owe me wheat and I'm a bari. Claimant is bari, that only wheat was stolen from him, and he keeps insisting with his big fat lawyer, big turn Rabboni, and all the newspapers and everybody, he says, wheat was stolen from me and nothing but wheat. And then the other guy said, no, it was barley. Then is it logical he take the barley? Mapitom. If he claims that wheat was stolen from him, and if we believe in a motzak mechaver levaraya, and he has no proof, there's no edim, he was moichel the barley, because he's saying wheat was stolen. There's no settling down. If Lu Yitzuyar, I say you owe me $2 million, and then you say 1 million, forget now about Shavuos and everything, and 1 million you'll take, Nagid, that makes sense, settle down, and you go out and tell the media, oh, Beis Din are liars, Shakronim, and Malasot. But 1 million is half of 2 million, I think, more or less, yeah? But if I claim one item and you say another item, why should I take the other item? If I say, I know for sure that the camera was stolen from my house, only, yes, this Sony Panasonic camera, yes, this one. Yeah, and you say, no, I stole the phone. So say, okay, so give me the phone. It's a joke from the Goyish media. Well, what do you mean, okay, give me the phone, settle for the phone. You said it was a camera, all of a sudden it's a phone. The other guy was moide, he stole the phone, but the first guy, the claimant, was moichelit. Mimela lichoiro, says the Gemara like this: if you want to tell me in the second case where we know something happened, but we don't know which bull is the one who gored, the 501 or the 201, and he says, oh, it was a 500. Yeah, I saw the black one, which was 500, and it wasn't the white one of 200. How can you take the white one 200? It's a shtus vehevel, and it's against Rabbi Bar Nosson that says what? Tonu b'chitim alo b'soyim. Ay. Mimela azoi. I'm Rav Papa. Says Rav Papa shtuyot. Our Mishnah cannot talk about bori because the sefer can't be bori. If the sefer is about a person who's telling me, I know it was the big bull, how could he get the small bull afterwards? He's saying camera, how would he get a phone? Yeah, lo shayach. Since the sefer cannot be bori, so to the reisha that's supposed to be consistent with the sefer cannot be bori. So I'm against you. I'm against Rabbi Barabba that says that we're talking about bori, because the sefer can't be bori, because he knows what he wants. He can't get the other item. That's against Tonu b'chitim v'lo b'soyim. Still a little bit of a way to walk. Well, why are you making faces at me? What? No. You too. No, it's goof shal tam. He's a goof shal tam. It's not money. It's a goof shal tam. Which goof shal are you partnering in, Rabbi Akiva? Yeah, money from a shal. Which shal did it? It's not stam money. Are you a partner a big shal and a small shal? I prefer not. Thank you. Ela bebori v'shema must be the seifa and automatically the reisha are talking about bori v'shema. Frag the Gemara, the koma bori man, the koma shema man. In other words, out of all three options, we crossed off the bori, because bori, right? If you're very certain in your claim, you're not going to get the other item. So must be what? Somebody here is a sure guy, and somebody here is a maybe. Who's who? Well, who wears which hat? In name of the comma nizak bori, the comma mazik shema. If we say in the seifa, when there's a big bull and a small bull, and we say that the nizak says, yes, I know it was the big bull, and the mazik says, I don't know if it was the smaller or the big one, that doesn't help us at all. It's still the same problem, because as long as the nizak, the claimant, claims strongly, assertively, I'm owed only the big one and not the small one, then still it's the same problem, right? How does he end up with the small one in his hands? I said camera, how do I end up with a phone all of a sudden? It's chitim v'soirim, it's chalk and cheese, or apples and oranges, So mimela akat is still limited to the abba still will be the same problem. Ela dandaram babam 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 comes a third and good option. They call nizak shema, they call mazik bori. The case of the seifa is the nizak is a maybe. That's very good. The nizak says the nizak is a maybe, and the mazik is a sure, which means in the seifa, the nizak says, I don't know if it was your big one or your small one. You so sure it was your small one? Weiß ich nicht. I don't know. As far as I could see, or my little 10 years old told me, I don't know, I think what? That whichever kind of funny evidence he has was not evidence. He says what? Well, I don't know if it was your big one or your small one. And the other one says that the one claimed against, the one blamed, the owner of the shvarim, says, I know it was a small one. That makes a lot of sense. You give him the small one. I don't know. You stole some black, new, shiny object from my desk yesterday. I don't know if it was a camera or the phone. The other one was in the garbage. I don't know. I don't know if it's the camera or the phone. If you admit it was the phone, you give me the phone. I lechatchila stuck my finger in every pie. Lechatchila, I opted. I placed my bets on both options. That's what they said you should do in Beis Din. Never constrict your tinus too much. I was saying maybe this, maybe that. Makes a lot of sense to tell me that if the nizak says it was one thing, you'll go for that one thing. Very good. The seifa nizak shema umazik bori. Since in the seifa then nizak is a shema, umazik is a bori, right? In the seifa, the nizak that's case number 3. Right? That is, we're going now into another problem slowly but surely. You're not even noticing. With the seifa nizak shema umazik bori. In the seifa, the nizak is a maybe, and the mazik is sure, it's only the small one, and that's actually very good, because the more shema the nizak is opting for different options, he'll get something, because he didn't fixate himself on one thing, reisha. But there's a problem. We have to be consistent in the seifa and the reisha. What's the reisha? The first case of the Mishnah, it's either all or nothing. Either you gored mine or it was a stone. Reisha nami nizak shema mazik bori. Oh no! You want to tell me the reisha is a nizak shema umazik bori? The Omar Sumchus first wide line afilu behor. You want to tell me Sumchus spoke in such a case? It would work very nice in the Mishnah, but with Sumchus logic, it doesn't work like we explained to Jeffrey very nice before. You can't say, it's very unlikely to say that Sumchus would tell me that if the mazik is sure of his chazakah and the nizuk is weak, the nizuk then has 2 strikes against him and the mazik has 2 strikes for him. He holds it in his hands and he's sure. And maybe the Papa never spoke about it. You want to tell me Chachamim who are coming the whole agenda to talk against Sumchus, they're talking about a case that Sumchus himself would agree? Doesn't make sense. And therefore this case is also ticked off. This case is not the case. We have 2 out of 3 out in the bowling alley. Da 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 da. And says the Gemara, lo seifa nizak shemo mazik bori. The seifa is true. The seifa and chinami, the nizak is a maybe and mazik is a bori, and that's good for the seifa. Why? Because the seifa spoke about a case where the nizak has to have his finger in every pie. And then he gets one of the 2 items he's claiming. Reisha, the Reisha and the Sefer are inconsistent. Reisha, nizak bori umazik shema. That's it, says Papa. Out of all 3 cases, the only logical case of the Sefer by a system of elimination is, I'm so happy for the whiteboard. Thank my daughter who gave me the markers. Yeah, the Reisha is when the Nizak is a bori, is a sure. The Mazik who's holding is a weak chazakah. It's a weak chazakah. It's a chazakah accompanied by Yamashenkin, the one claiming, he knows for sure. He knows for sure. In such a case, and only in such a case, Sumchus spoke. And that's what Chachamim are coming now to talk against on the other side of the phone. They say, that case, in the case of a weak chazakah and a strong claim against the chazakah, even then we disagree with you, Sumchus, and we say that because we idolize the concept of chazakah, which Sumchus doesn't. Give me 2 more lines and I'll hear your questions. Excuse me, you're going against the rule that the Reisha is not like the Seifa, right? The Reisha is not like the Seifa. You're attacking, you're of Papa, you're attacking the other opinion, but you also are not consistent with the Reisha and the Seifa. So you might as well say that the Reisha is Bori Bori also, which you're so much against. Says the Gemara, no. Amri, Bori v'shema, Shema v'Bori chad milsai. And here, Ellen, you're right. When it comes to the superficial editing of the Mishnah, so to speak, not superficial, the way things seem to be, Bori and Shema Bori, this and that are similar. It's shaykh to talk in the Reisha when one side is certain, the other side of the Mishnah is when the other side is certain. But Bori, Shema Bori, Trei Milininu. To tell me that the Reisha talks about Bori, which is what Nachman wanted to say, and the Sefer is about Bori v'Shema, that's already too extreme. The difference is too vast, is too striking. Let me summarize and I'll hear your questions. It's not as hard as it seems, I think. Let's summarize. Says, I think, again, Sumchus came up with a statement against everything that we knew all our lives. What does Sumchus say? No. Just because you hold it in your hand doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean that historically speaking, factually speaking, your shore is the one who didn't go. That's what Sumchus says. So you do half, and you take half the money out of the hands of the machzik. When did Sumchus say what he said? Well, says Rav Nachman. Who was the first opinion? Says Rab Chia Barabba, another of Nachman. Sorry. Says Rab Chia Barabba. Even in the case when the mazik and the nizak both are sure of what they're saying, even though the mazik knows and he claims strongly, I am the one holding the money, not because I'm a mafioso, I'm holding the money, because I know Mashor didn't do it. Right? I know Mashor never did that. And the other side also says that he's sure. In such a case, we say still, he wants to say, Sumchus would still say, Cholkin. You do have faith, because we don't know who's right, who's wrong. Came Rav Papa, and with a very, very intelligent system of eliminating the different cases of the Mishnah, he proved through our Mishnah that the Sefer of our Mishnah cannot talk about Bori. And the Mishnah is the one who's coming to talk against Sumchus. From the whole agenda, right? From the agenda of the Mishnah, we know what they're against, so we know what Sumchus did say, right? So if our Mishnah said Bori, then Sumchus spoke in Bori. But he says, no, the Mishnah is not Bori, because the Sefer of the Mishnah spoke about a case in which, one guy says, I know that it's the big bull who hit me and not the small one. And the other one says, no, it was the small one. How did he get the small one? He kept claiming all the time that it was only the big one, not the small one. He's changing. Okay, he actually stole the camera. For half a year, drove the guy crazy that you stole my wallet, yeah? And then, you say camera. Okay, no, actually it was a camera in Michigan, right? Not, right? Elamai must be the Seifa. He's talking about Shema Ubori. He says, I don't know which bull hit me, the big or the small. I'm not sure. Now, when the other guy, the Mazik, says, I admit it was the small, at least you got the small one, right? And now the Reisha, a bit similar. We tell you also the case of the Reisha is not a case of for sure. It's a case of what? Of Bori the Shema the other way. That the Mazik is a maybe. The Mazik says maybe it was hit by a rock, and the Nizak says no, for sure it was hit by your shear, hit by your shear. Then we say what? Then we say in our Mishnah we are against Sumchus. What did Sumchus say? Only in this case of the Mazik, Shema, and Nizak Bari, that's when Sumchus says by a weak chazakah is not a chazakah. And we in the Mishnah comment we say we always believe in chazakahs, even in a weak chazakah. Questions and comments are welcome now. We're going to enter North Korea in about 5 minutes, but you can enjoy the fresh air for now. Yes. Gufa. This is going to be much easier now, which we're going to see now. The two dots. When the two dots in the fourth word, blan. Gufa, Rabbi Bar Nosson. Now we're going to the actual matter of Rabbi Bar Nosson, but very quickly we're going back to our Mishnah. What did Rabbi Bar Nosson say? Tanu chitin. A person claimed that chitim were stolen from him or whatever, just that particular bag of wheat. The other person said, no, I did not take chitim from you. I took barley from you. Potu, he's not at all mechuyev to give him anything. By the way, Baruch, just to make you feel good, there's a machlokes to know him about it, but it's not so simple. What the chiyuv is, it could be it's only chiyuv shvua or moedy b'miktzas. You can look at Tosfos in your free time today. In any event, we say, if I claim that I'm owed the big item and I was told it's only the small item, I don't get what don't I get? Soon we're going to see. What's Rabbi Bar Nosson, who's an Amoraim, what's he coming to tell me? Tanina, it's a Meforshah Mishnah. And Amoraim has to tell me something already written in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says outright. Answers the Gemara, that would make you happier maybe. If only from that Mishnah, without the new statement of the Amoraim, if only from the Mishnah, I would have said, I would say maybe it's like a bit of a moedy b'miktzas here. I would say maybe your potter, the what's his name, the one claimed against, the one who was blamed, you would say, we tell him you don't have to give him the big chitim, but you still have to give him the soirim. The money of the soirim, like Shlomo was saying, everything translates into money. Let's say chitim are worth 1,000 and soirim 500. Give him 500. Maybe it's like they all talk about cash, and we ignore the fact that these are two different physical items. At the end of the day, it all boils down to the Benjamins. It all goes down to the cash at the end of the day. Kamash Malan, the potul legamre. The Chiddush is no, it's completely potul, which means because we looked at these two different items, item 1 and item 2, a camera and a phone. You admitted you're not owed the small one. You don't get the small one. You come out with nothing. We don't have to compensate you. Very good. Now, frag the Gemara Tnan. Look at our Mishnah, and our Mishnah has a problem. The same problem we had before is now we're talking about the third case. I don't know if you noticed. I told you yesterday, and the Gemara is fulfilling my promise. I told you the Gemara, as we go along, will explain why we need all different cases of the Mishnah. Now comes the third. If you follow well, each case is a Chiddush. Yeah, the second case before we said is Megala on the first one that we're not talking about Bori or Bori, right? We need the two cases. The second one is the one who forced us to say that it's not Bori or Bori, because if you say Bori, I'm owed the big one, you're not getting the small one. Now we're talking about the third case of the Mishnah. Hoyon izokin shnaim, echad godol ve'echad koton. It's 2 against 2. The team of 2 soccer players against the other 2. Yeah, what's the third case of the Mishnah? 2 bulls of the Mazik, big and small, against the 2 ones of the Nizak, big and small, and the Mazik team won. And they injured the big one and the small one. And what did we say? You claim that the big one hit the big one and the small one. I am the mazik, and I say no. My big one hit your small one, and my small one hit the big one, which you can figure out is better for him. So mashma, we say Hello, my siraya. Let's say he did not bring a raya. The nizok, poor nizok, has no proof that he was a big against big and small against small. Shakil kedomer mazik. Then would he really take like the mazik said? Then he'd go for option 2 for the second alternative, and he will what? Will say, okay. So I'll do like you. I'll do like the mazik, and I will get the big to the small and small to the big. Hamai chitim v'soirim ninu. As we said all the time, it's shtuyot. It's against chitim v'soirim. If I claim that I know for sure that your big one hit my big one and the small one, how can I change versions at the end of the verdict when I see things are not going my way? Yeah. So you see, l'choyer elamad, the Mishnah does say like that, but at least at the end of the day, the Mishnah is against Rabbi Bar Nosson. The Mishnah seems to be saying, like Baruch and Shlomo wanted to say, that we can look at it as some kind of general thing. The Mishnah is against Rabbi Bar Nosson. And says the Gemara, no. Roy litol, comma, ve'enloi. What does it mean, enloi? If he has a raya, he's going to take, like he said, big, big, small, small. But if he has no raya, ein loy. You know what ein lo means? He has nothing. Zilch, zero, ein chinami. Like Rabbi Bar Nosson, if you claim, I know for sure that your big one hit my big one, then you will not be able to get the compensation from the small one. Yeah, because if you go for option A very strictly and very pointedly, you can't go for option B. Your options for one, you can't go for B. And that's exactly what the Mishnah is telling us. The problem is the Brisa doesn't say like you. The Brisa says that if he has no raya, the nizak does not prove that it was big, big, small, small, then he will be paid. Not he will be paid zero. He will be paid from the cotton to godol v'godol min cotton. The big bull will pay for the small one, and the small one for the big one, in a way that is not the best option for him. So you see, not like Chiyah Abba outright. It says not that he will be left with nothing because he opted for one thing. We say, he opted for A, but the evidence is going to get B. That's against Rabbi Bar Nosson. It's like, actually, you didn't steal the chitim. Okay, I'll take the sorim. I'll make do with whatever you have. It looks like the Mishnah is telling us that, the Brisa. And says Gemara de Tofas. No. We're talking, let's say that Nizak is a smart guy and a bit violent also. And that Nizak, he chapped both shvarim. The big and the small, of the mazik. He says, Beis Din is being unfair to me. I'm going now and I'm catching the big bull and the small ox of the mazik. And now he's turning the tables. And then we say, if he was toifes, now moitzim chavel raya, switch hands, right? Now you have to take it out of my hands. And then we say, okay, since it's in your hands, mimele, in that case only, you get to be paid like the mazik was saying, all the time. You get to be paid the big from the small and the small from the big, because now it's already in your hands. But in order to take it out of his hands, then we don't know. To take it out of the mazik stands, we can't say we're using a taina that you were always against to all of a sudden help you. But once it's in your hands, everything changes reality legamre. Okay, the next piece is very, very similar to the previous one, but we'll finish here. I hope to finish the parak tomorrow. I'm going to hear your questions. He was first. Tomorrow, Meretz Hashem, is the last shir before Sumchus. Tomorrow is a shir, Meretz Hashem. We'll finish the parak. Email Hashem, I hope. And before Yom Kippur and before Sumchus. And we'll talk about it soon. Thank you very much. Shkoyach. Have a good day.